Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So tonight is my first live video or live stream, and I am super excited. So let's just get right into it. As you can see, tonight we're going to be doing some case updates. I thought this would be a good idea to kind of get back into the swing of things by talking about some of the earlier cases that I did and to kind of get your feedback on them and see what you all think about the cases and just kind of get your insight. So we are going to talk about our first case, as you can see, is going to be, we're going to talk about Makeva Jenkins. Hang on one second while I bring her picture over. You guys have to bear with me while I learn this whole live process. So this is Makeva Jenkins. She was a 33-year-old mother of 3 boys at the time of her death. She died in June 29th, 2017. She actually, her life was taken. She was killed by her husband, allegedly, with the help of 2 accomplices. So Jaya Jenkins, her husband, is alleged to have hired 2 men to help him basically kill his wife because he no longer wanted to be married. The story that Jaya originally told was that a masked gunman just so happened to show up at his house on June 29th at around 1 o'clock in the morning and barged in while him and about 5 other people were hanging out in their garage. Supposedly, this guy barged in and ran upstairs and shot his wife, who lay sleeping with their children in the room, and then just ran away. Just, ran out of the house, got in their car and drove away. Of course, this sounds crazy. So, but at the time, police, everyone was, I'm sure giving him a side eye, but they were also listening to him and, just investigating this case. Ultimately, it was determined that Jaya was involved in his wife's death. Hang on one second. Hang on just a second while I show you. I'm going to bring over Jaya. So this is Jaya Jenkins, Makeva's husband at the time. He initially said that he was devastated. He was so distraught by the fact that, someone had came in and taken his wife. Well, fast forward, as the police are investigating, it comes out that Jaya, in fact, first of all, Makeva had asked him for a divorce or had told him that she wanted a divorce just prior to him hiring these 2 guys to kill her. So she wanted a divorce, but according to, the investigation, apparently she found out she was pregnant and decided to call off the divorce. However, Jaya really wanted a divorce, so much so that he thought it was best to hire 2 people to, he basically hired hitmen to try to kill his wife, which they actually succeeded. But the apparently The gentleman by the name of Dimitri Dale is supposed to be the person who helped facilitate this with Yuri. He's the middleman, according to, investigators. They believe that this young man here helped put Yuri in touch with a 20-year-old. At the time, I believe Jovan Joseph was 20 years old, helped him put Yuri in touch with this 20-year-old kid to, plan out killing his wife. Police ended up catching Jovan first because apparently he wrote some sort of game plan letter and left it in his house, and his mother found it and took it to the authorities. So that's what started the ball rolling. Currently, the case is currently in, going to trial. And at this point, Dimitri is acting as his own attorney, and Dimitri Dale is the one that's acting as his own attorney. Jovan Joseph, the youngest one, who is actually alleged to have done the shooting, is in jail at this time, as well as Yuri. So all three of them are in jail. I want to read to you the most recent updates from the court concerning Dimitri Dale's role in the homicide. All of this is coming out. The case is currently in trial, so they're having a lot of, trial hearings. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, before his arrest, Dale was a witness for the prosecution. He testified during a 2018 hearing that Yuri told him he didn't love his wife anymore and that he wanted her dead. Dale said he brought Jovan, which is supposedly the shooter, over to Jenkins' home the day before the fatal shooting to introduce the two to each other. So Dimitri is this middleman who actually brought this young kid over to Yuri to introduce him in their own home. Dale said on the day of the shooting, Joseph, who was 19 at the time, pulled a gun on him and made him drive to Jenkins' home near Hypoluxo and Lawrence Roads I believe this is Lake Worth, in the Lake Worth area. So apparently Dale is trying to say that he was forced at this point to, take Joseph to Yuri's house. On Wednesday, this is talking about, I believe, the officer in the case. So on Wednesday, Beamon referenced evidence that went into further details of Dale's alleged involvement. Surveillance video from the neighborhood showed Joseph dropped off a car in the neighborhood near Makeva's home, then getting into a vehicle driven by Dale, according to authorities. When they got near the residence, additional video footage shows the driver of the same vehicle, Dale, gets out and walks toward Makevajenkins' home. Moments later, Joseph gets out, according to Beamon. They also have phone records that show Yuri contacted Dale, and Dale would contact Joseph in the days leading up to the shooting. So essentially, Dale is this middleman. Yuri's calling him to call Jovan to make all of these plans and arrangements. So Jovan told the investigators that both he and Dale were paid $10,000 by Yuri to facilitate this homicide. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention too that I thought was crazy. So basically, I think I just want to see here which one turned. Dale and Jovan are both working for the prosecution, I believe, at this point. And hang on a second. So Joseph, the shooter, he pled guilty in 2019 to second-degree murder in exchange for testifying against Yuri and I'm sure Dale. He's going to be sentenced once the trial is over. But because he took this plea deal, he's actually only going to receive no less than 5 years and no more than 20 years in jail. Dimitri Dale is acting as his own lawyer, which I think is pretty crazy. But So this is where we are at this point. Essentially, all three of these suspects have been caught. They are in jail. Yuri is currently awaiting trial. He still maintains that he's innocent, even though there's all this information proving that he basically tried to, he basically had his wife killed because he didn't want to be married anymore. There's testimony and court records showing that shortly after she died, he was out, at strip clubs, dating other people. There's also evidence that suggests that he did this for life insurance money. But being the dummy that he is, and actually Makiva being smart as she was, she did not make him a beneficiary on any of her life insurance policies. So basically he did all of this for nothing. He took his children's mother's life. She had a 1-year-old at the time, a 3-year-old, and I believe a 7-year-old. So now these 3 boys do not have their mom. Makiva was she had like a go-getter spirit. She was an entrepreneur. The day before, I believe it was the day before she was killed, she posted something on Facebook talking about how, she came from homelessness to basically being a 6-figure earner over the course of like 4 or 5 years. I think she said in 2013, she and Yuri, they were homeless, struggling, trying to make it. And because of her determination, they pushed through and she was able to, kind of create this new life for herself. And unfortunately, it was taken away because of his ignorance. So let me know, down in the comments, what you all think about that. I know I'm extremely happy to find out that all of these guys have been caught, all of them who are alleged to have been involved in this. And, hopefully that justice will be served. I don't know how I feel about Jovan getting between 5 and 20 years when he was the actual shooter. What do you all think about that? I guess the reason why that's being done is maybe they don't feel like they have a strong enough case against Yuri. I don't know. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense. He was the actual, yes, he was just hired, but he was the one who did it. He had an opportunity to not do it. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. So that is what we have there. I will continue to try to follow this case as much as possible. I know that there's going to be some hearings and things like that coming up. I'm going to get myself together with keeping up with the court schedule and just monitoring any, new things that come out on this particular case. So now I want to talk about these next 2 cases. Deal with, they're basically teenagers. I say they're still babies. And it's just it's heartbreaking, but I'm also extremely happy to learn that these cases are moving forward and they're not just being forgotten, that these girls are not being, forgotten, or, the cases aren't being solved. I hope you guys don't hear the raining. It is literally pouring here. So first, we're going to talk about this beautiful girl. I just love her smile. This is Jaya Beemon. She was 18 years old at the time of her death. She died in Chicago. And hold on one second. I do want to put in a disclaimer. If you guys haven't watched it, I have some videos of these particular cases. I have the descriptions down the links to the videos down in the description box below. So if you haven't heard of these cases or don't know very many details, I'm just giving brief recaps, but you can definitely watch those videos and you'll get some, more information. I have way more details about what was actually, happening. So hold on just a minute. I'm still getting used to this. This whole live stream thing is crazy, trying to manage your screens, not have, information up. I don't know. I'll get better with in time, guys. For sure. So hang on a second. Okay, so this is Jaya Beemon. She was 18 years old when she was shot on February 25th, 2020. She was actually coming from an aquarium with her boyfriend. They had gone on a little date on that day, and they decided that after they left the aquarium, they were going to stop at a little corner store. They decided to stop at this corner store, and it was called Ali's Mini Market. It's in Chicago, I believe, off of 79th and Avalon. I think I have a picture of it. Hang on a second. I'll try to find it later. But at any rate, they decide to go to this little corner store to get them some snacks after their little aquarium date. And just after walking into the convenience store, three men, but they turned out to be young men, teenagers, again, pulled up in a white vehicle. They looked through the glass of the store and began shooting just recklessly and crazily into the convenience store. Police say they shot about 20 rounds or more than 20 rounds into the convenience store and then drove off. Of course, there were several injuries. Jaya lost her life. There were other victims. I think there were 4 other victims. And police, there was video footage, which I also have in the original video that I did on this case. There's the video footage of the entire thing. These kids, basically they're kids, walking up to this convenience store and just shooting like maniacs. No regard for anybody in there, no regard for life whatsoever. Well, fast forward to December 2020, and a 15-year-old was arrested. 15 years old, a 15-year-old young boy was arrested and charged with murder in connection with the death of Jaya. He is not the only suspect, guys. There's actually 2 others. This 15-year-old was identified by one of the surviving victims. I'm not able to find his name, of course, because he's a minor, but one of the surviving victims said he goes by the name of Little D. He ended up being arrested and charged, and he is pending trial in this case. Hang on one second. Here's a picture of Jay. Every time I look at her smile, she just makes me smile. But as you can see the picture to, I think it's the right of her, I guess, or to the left of her are these idiots. 3 of these kids. They're basically children, still babies themselves, just shooting into a convenience store. Trying to get one person, but no regard for all the other people that were in there. They were targeting an unarmed man that was inside the store and instead struck 5 innocent bystanders. This Jaya was basically just starting her life. She was attending nursing school, just trying to make something of herself. She, as you can see, was a gorgeous girl. She was trying to, just start life. And these little kids, these idiots, just decide to go in there and just reckless, just crazy. I don't even have words to describe, their behavior. They struck her in the neck. One of the bullets struck her in the neck. This is the case. I don't know if you guys, if you saw the video, you'll know Jaya's mom, Naisha Beemon, was actually arrested the night of her daughter's murder or death because police said that she was, I guess they kind of said she was assaulting a police officer or assaulting an officer. But in reality, she was a devastated mom who had just found out she lost her daughter, and she lost her, basically just lost it. So that was when I initially heard that, I just could not believe that they would even suggest something so stupid. So she spent the night in jail the same night that she found out her daughter died, guys. That to me was the most disgusting thing I had ever heard. She was briefly charged with resisting arrest after she allegedly kicked a police officer while being dragged from the emergency room. So I'm so sure that she was dragged from the emergency room because she was in a state of hysteria. And I just don't believe that a charge or even arrest was necessary during that time. You guys, you have to check out the original video that I did about it. Like I said, I have so many more details, but let me know down in the comments below what you think of that. I just feel like it's almost like, it's not almost, it is a slap in the face to her as a mom or as a parent. And I feel like they just show no empathy at all. I just can't even believe that they even took it as far as arresting her. Even if they took her to a police car, they went so far as having this woman sit in jail. I just can't, I could not believe that. Let me know what you all think about that down in the comments. So this case is also active. This kid is, he was in court in December. I don't have any more recent court updates, but like I said, I will start checking court dockets and files and stuff like that to see where we are in these cases, because I am interested to know what the outcomes are. And I'm sure you all want to know as well. So I'm definitely going to be keeping up on this particular case as well. So after that, we have the last case, which is another heartbreaking story or case involving another young girl who lost her life for something that she had nothing to do with whatsoever. Nothing. This is the case of Destiny Nelson. I also did a video on this when it's probably been about almost a year. It's definitely, the link is down in the description box below. But Destiny Nelson was a 17-year-old high school student getting ready to graduate. She lived in Columbus, Georgia. She was a 4.0, student. She was in the choir. She attended church regularly. She was just an all-around good kid. And the most unfortunate thing happened to her. And again, it's just unbelievable how these are kids doing this stuff, guys, how kids can be so reckless and how they just don't even value life. Destiny Nelson was in her own home with her mom and other family members and siblings. And when I just can't even, honestly, I just can't even. When a young kid at the time, police, Destiny's mom, no one knew who this person was. But on January 16th in 2017, a young person, a kid who we now know is, at this time, I think she's 19-year-old Kiana James. 19-year-old Kiana James now, but at the time she was 16 herself. 16-year-old Kiana James ambushed Destiny Nelson's home, and by ringing the doorbell. She rang the doorbell on their apartment in Bull Creek Apartments in Columbus, Georgia. And before Destiny could even get to open the door, this little girl, because I'm calling Kiana's a girl at this time, she's 16, she shoots through the door like a maniac, shooting Destiny several times, and essentially taking her life, all because of a gang retaliation act and mistaken identity. Because to be on, according to, the police, she was actually trying to do this gang retaliation thing to somebody who lived in apartment 12B in Bull Creek Apartments. And I think Destiny and her family lived in 11B. So all of this because this little dumb girl doesn't even know what apartment she's trying to attack. And she ends up taking this beautiful young girl's life before it even gets started. Not to mention, guys, she ended up getting arrested, but she was already in jail. Why was she already in jail, you ask? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you right now why she was already in jail. Hang on just a second. I can't even believe that. It's just crazy to me how these kids don't value themselves, and then they don't value life. So it's mind-blowing to me how it's so easy for them to take somebody's life. I'm going to show you a picture of her. This is Kiana James. She's a kid herself, basically taking another kid's life. But this isn't the first person's life that she's taken because of her gang affiliations and all of her craziness. She actually was in jail at the time of her being charged for Destiny's death. She was in jail for killing a 13-year-old. Literally. Shooting and robbing a 13-year-old. She was already in jail for shooting and robbing a 13-year-old, along with her dumb boyfriend at the time, Darius Robinson. So according to this, they were charged with murder in the April 19th shooting outside of a South Columbus church, where they beat and robbed a little 13-year-old, a 13-year-old. Darius Robinson, 18, and Kiana James, 16, they pleaded not guilty to the armed robbery during 2 different hearings back in August. Robinson was held without bond, and his girlfriend was also held without bond in a separate detention facility. This happened at the Havenbrook Court Apartments at around 3:00 in the morning on June 29th. So apparently, I'm going to read this to you all. A juvenile told police that she messaged Darius Robinson on Facebook about an iPhone and agreed to meet him at a pedestrian bridge near MLK Jr. Boulevard. James and 19-year-old Makiana Nicole Pastor allegedly beat her behind the apartment complex at 100 Havenbrook Court as Robinson took her $800 iPhone 7 and $25 Nike slides at gunpoint. Pastor was taken into custody on the scene, but officials said the couple fled. So this is crazy, this whole story. I'm going to keep reading. It says, Pastor was taken into custody on the scene, but officials said the couple fled. Authorities said James and Robinson were involved in the April 19th shooting. It's cut off. I can't see it. Crap. James was taken into custody on August 17th and questioned about both incidents. She allegedly told police that she was tricking out with people when she encountered Ralph, who she identified as one of her clients. So she's a prostitute, I guess, at the intersection of Cusetta Road and 25th Avenue. She allegedly told authorities that she solicited sex to Ralph while Robinson and another individual stood in the parking lot. She said she rode with Ralph as he drove in the area, and he was killed after they returned to the church, Baker testified. The juvenile advised that when she exited the vehicle, Mr. Marion Ralph exited the vehicle, Baker testified, at which point in time, Mr. Robinson shot Mr. Marion Ralph several times. Actually, okay, so what happened is they robbed a 13-year-old. They didn't kill the 13-year-old. That's my mistake. They ended up killing an older gentleman by the name of Marion Ralph. But either way, guys, these kids, they are like, there's no other way to describe it. Like, something is going on. I just want to know what you all think. What is going on with these kids? I just feel like they're so troubled. They're like 16 years old, 17 years old. What would make them just want to take someone's life like this? What would make them not even think twice about it? What do you all think about that? Let me know down in the comments what you think about these kids just having no value. They don't value life. They don't value their lives, and they don't value anyone else's life. Here she is, this young girl, and she's beautiful too, to be honest. She's 16 at the time, killing someone for a gang retaliation. Then she goes on to sell herself, selling her body to people. I'm assuming, what would make her get into that type of lifestyle? I wonder where her parents are. It's crazy. So she's killing people, selling herself, and she's just out there. And then you have these other teenage boys who basically don't value their life or anybody else's life for that matter, because they think it's okay to just openly shoot inside of a convenience store without any regard for the people that are in there. Literally, no regard for the people that are in there. This is them. This is the day that they shot and, killed Jaya Beemon and shot and injured 4 other people inside of a convenience store just because they were looking for one person. So, not to mention that 15 years old. So I'm pretty sure the other ones can't be much older. These are the kind of kids. What is causing kids to do these kinds of things? That's what I really want to know. Every case, with the exception of Makeva that I've talked about tonight, involves young kids taking people's lives and young kids losing their lives for things that they shouldn't even really be involved in. Like, to me, this is just craziness. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about what is causing our young children. These are all Black kids, you guys. What is causing our young Black kids to, fall victim to this kind of behavior? Do you think it's lack of parenting? Do you think it's kids don't care? Do you think it's the court system? What do you think is causing this, and how can we fix it? Like, what can we do to start changing, how kids react to basically how they handle themselves in certain situations? Is this peer pressure? Like, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. All in all, I am just happy to be able to come back and share that, unfortunately, even though these are children doing these crazy things, they're still being caught because obviously they have no self-control. They have no sense of direction. So they don't need to be out on the streets being able to do this to somebody else. So I'm just happy that police were doing their job and are still doing their job, because in the case of Jaya Beemon, there's still two other suspects out there that need to be caught as well, because they are just as violent and just as crazy, in my opinion, as a 15-year-old. And in the case of Destiny Nelson, you know, Kiana James, she needs help, and she can't get help on this, you know, in the streets. Apparently somebody needs to, you know, maybe the court system can help her, but at least she's being held accountable for what she did to Destiny and for what she did to the older gentleman, Mr. Marion. I don't, obviously her life is in turmoil, and just, but why? The question is why? What is going on with our kids? What can we do as parents? What can we do as just citizens and people who care and value life? How can we help these kids? Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for checking out my first live. I hope I did okay. I know I'm still a little nervous, but I'm going to get used to it. I think I prefer the lives better because I do feel like I'm really talking to you guys, even though I don't know how many people are here. I don't see any comments. So, but that's okay. This is just the first one. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for commenting. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're alerted when I post new videos. I am going to get on a schedule, and I'm going to keep doing these case updates, like I said, as well as continuing to bring new cases to you all so that we can discuss them and you know, talk about solutions. That's really what I want to do. Talk about solutions, and I want to help people. So hopefully we can all do that together. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye.